Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today for a Throwback Thursday. Hope everyone's having a good day. In Step 0, you have claimed the crown of first. This feels like a 20 go to 10 error moment. 0 has claimed first. So are you Step first now? Or have you claimed the crown of 0, dumb? I don't know, man. Either way, we're going to be diving into some Super Castlevania IV. Oh, Brayherd, good to see you. You've claimed a father joke. Do you know why the octopus blushed? It saw the bottom of the ocean. You were Step 0, but you wear the crown of firstendom. But anyway, let's dive into some... Hold on, I gotta reset it. I thought it was Loom? No, we beat Loom last week. There is no more Loom. We beat the Loom. We defeated the Chaos. Oh, it's so spooky. Gonna sit here for a moment. There's a nice word crawl. It's all dark and spooky. Also, I feel good being back on this side. Oh, there's the 300 bits. That's what I thought was coming. Thank you so much. We'll do that after this cutscene. I guess that's where we buried Dracula? Every 100 years, the forces of good mysteriously start to weaken. Thus, the power of Dracula starts to revive itself. His power grows stronger and stronger every 100 years. Dracula has revived many times. However, his sinister actions have been consistently thwarted by the Belmont family. It's been 100 years since the last confrontation between Dracula and the Belmont family. But now the serenity of Transylvania is being threatened by destructive forces. Who could have seen this coming? On a dark and eerie night, Dracula rose from his grave to unleash his destructive power over the countryside. Once again, Simon Belmont is called upon to destroy Dracula with only his whip and courage. So he sets out to restore peace to Transylvania. Wait, if Simon Belmont defeated him 100 years ago, how is he going to defeat him now? He's got to be like 120 something. Don't worry, Dracula. Oh, I can't do an old man voice without hurting my throat. Oh, but I think that's still pretty accurate. Kingdom Hearts aging? Oh, I see, I see. Well, you know what ages me? No! Candy Bite Go! Long live Belmonts or spare heirs. I don't think they're all named Simon, though. The Simpson love candied young pine cone. Soft and fully edible. Unique taste and health benefits. 100% natural and wild. No additives, colorings, preservatives, or GMO. Ingredients: pine cones, sugar, water. Man, these sound like a good idea. Yoo-hoo. There we go. Get that set up so it doesn't keep... There it is. It's a pine cone. It tastes like a fireplace full of pine trees. Like, it's almost sweet and appley, but then it just gets this smoky aftertaste. Ugh. Speedrun 0%. Both loops. 114 minutes. 7 years ago by American Joe D'Amelio. Oh. So both loops, it's basically like this style of game at the time, in order to increase its gameplay. Once you beat it, you auto restart, and it's a harder go around on the second time. Also, best whip in all of Castlevania. So incredibly hilarious. Aha. Stuck in my teeth. I think the thing I like the least about the candied pine cones is I almost like them. But I do love the remixed Castlevania theme used here in this first level. Now, I have never actually beaten this game. Oh, hello, voice crack. I've gotten pretty far, but I've never bothered using, like, the password system to actually go back and keep trying. But we'll try to change that here. Game also has a lowest percent category, which is always interesting. I wonder how they qualify that. Is it like you don't get to use sub-weapons and break candles? Or are there glitches, or are there skips? Or warps, I guess? Oh. Oh. More candied pinecone. Beat the game with no collected inventory upgrade. Oh, that reminds me, I need to go get that. I think there's one hiding over here. Yeah, there we go. Now I can use 2 axes. Bad horse head. Also, why is there a floating horse head? Floating horse heads are where you draw the line? I mean... Sure. No, I didn't want to actually grab that chain. I was like, no, I shouldn't grab that, because then I'll lose my 2, and I did. Also, this Castlevania game starts strong with Medusas on the first level. Oh, this is not looking good. I really screwed up there. And I even practiced. Like, I practiced this first level to de-rust and be like, okay, do I remember the controls? And I beat the first level without dying. I'm like, okay, this will go great. Hubris. Ow. JK, he's not dead. JK, he is dead. I do appear to be getting injured, but you know what? I won. Oh yeah, let's look at this mode 7. Let go of me. Bad hand. Perfectly normal SNES lag. First time I played this was college, actually. Bought it from a local game store because it was cheap, and it's like, I like Castlevania. But those enemies made of leaves, those leaf golems, could not see them. And I was so confused the first time I was playing, just being like, what is hitting me? Was it a visual glitch, or did you I just didn't process it, because they blend in pretty well to the background. Oh, frogs. Frogs! Dang it. I didn't want to pick up the cross. I don't think this is what Jesus meant when he said, pick up your cross and follow me, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it was like a combination of the TV we had in our apartment and the graphics. I just could not see the leaf guys. Hey, Britt! That's a... Thanks, so you can hang with your friend. Hey, that's all good. Makes sense. Hope you have a good time. Glad you survived. Thanks for the updates. You want to take up the cross. Okay, I'm pretty sorry. I didn't want to take up that cross. Let me clarify. The one that's used as a boomerang. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. As not even the boss. That's just a sub-boss. Actually, yeah, let's pick up Axe. So one of these has the sub-weapon ×2 multiplier. Also, the water is now flowing uphill. Okay, I thought there was a ×2 multiplier in there. Maybe it depends on what weapon you have. Maybe it's here. On this. Nope. I feel like there's a split path there, but I literally have no idea. Also, this water hurts you, because Castlevania. Among priests who play party-based RPGs, digital or tabletop, how many do you suppose play priest clerics because it's familiar versus won't play those classes because it's just like work? Probably you're going to get more guys who will play something different. I mean, it really depends on your play style and what you want to do. So, hey, just learning hope. Good to see you. Yeah, deadly cave kisses. I don't want deadly cave kisses. Ow. Rude. I cannot seem to hold on to the axe. Diagonal strikes. That feels like forbidden magic. No, it would be forbidden magic on like an 8-bit. 16-bit did some pretty powerful stuff. Plus, how about the jump down strike? Oh, please don't kill my system. Please do not harm or overheat my 100% real and totally legit Super Nintendo, that's the joke. Doesn't want to take up the cross, doesn't want the holy water. The holy water's always bad in Castlevania games. It is universally regarded as the worst sub-weapon. I ran around with the Bible in Symphony of the Night. Yeah, it only hurts ground dwellers, so it doesn't help against burbs. Yeah, this is... I'm having lots of strong feelings right now about this level. Not necessarily memories, but... Oh, look at this madness. I'm going behind the water. Ooh, the fanciest graphics of 1994. Oh, also, if the screen scrolls up, that's why I remember this level being a pain. Once the screen has scrolled up, that's it. There is no ground below me anymore. So it's not like you can fall and have to retry. It's just you fall to your death. Backside of water! O2H! O2H! Chemist walks into a bar and orders H2O. Man after him says, "I'll have H2O too," and promptly dies. How important would you rank platforming Castlevania's game quality? I mean, it's a very different platforming from, like, Mario or Sonic. Like, the whole game is very methodical. Like, all the combat. Like, if you're rushing, like me, you're probably not actually going to do that well. Like, it's a game that's very calculated in its jumping. Because, like, once you jump, that's it. You can't change direct... Well, this one you can a little, but not much. Yours... Yeah, is Peroxide. What an irresponsible bartender. I mean, gave what he asked for. Oh, White Dragon. And another one. Also, look at the water on my Sprite. Would I say the customer is always right? There is more to that quote than we ever use. It is, customer is always right in matters of taste. Basically, the customer is not automatically ipso facto right on everything, but don't tell a customer that a shirt they like is ugly. It's basically just how you get a sale. No! That fish man sniped me! If the customer wants to buy something, you should find a way to sell it to him. Yeah, exactly. Holy water. Yeah, holy water would have actually come in handy there. Edge case. Oh yeah, also when you die, you lose all your hearts. Which I suppose happens to a normal person, too. Ow! I am not hitting this dragon. I got sniped by the same fish in a different way. Is this what it's like to be catfished? Forgot the brutality of old school games. Yeah. Watch out for the merman. That's what I've been doing wrong. I think part of it, too, is my controller is, well, you know, 30 years old. And so doing a diagonal strike, it's having a hard time reading that. The phrase were in response to Caveat Emperor. Early versions include the customer is king. In Nordic countries, customer is god. In Japan, the customer is never wrong. Well, I prefer the in matters of taste. I think it contextualizes it nicely. Stop it! In Costco, the customer always gets a refund. There you go. That, again, though, is just really a really good selling tactic, because then they walk away happy, and you're honestly, in the grand scheme of Costco, not losing that much. we go. A fish didn't spawn in the danger zone this time. Historical context makes a lot of sense in the short version. With basically unregulated retail markets, ensures that complaint would be treated as genuine. Did much to build. That's true. But I think it can also absolutely be misconstrued and misused today. And, we've all seen the videos or comments of people complaining customer service, I want to speak to your manager, kind of stuff. And it's like, well... Rip almond poppy seed muffin the size of my head. Why? Because you consumed it? Or does your favorite bakery no longer make it? Because if it's the second one, that's uber sad. Not sure how true this is, but I heard people return seasonal items like patio furniture. There's gotta be limits to that, I feel like. If it's clearly used, it's like... I just failed that jump. I have nothing to say. That one's entirely on me. Costco is changing their muffins? This is ridiculous. How dare you, Costco? Did Costco grow a conscience and realize that their giant muffins were adding to the obesity epidemic? Oh, that was lucky. I'm just ignoring you. What? Why am I moonwalking? Why am I stuck on the stairs? Did not want that. I did want that, though. I don't remember this Belmont moonwalking like that. Oh, boss time. Delicious wall chicken. It wasn't even wall chicken, it was candle chicken. I guess it became floor chicken. Okay. Phase 1. Oh! I thought there was a phase 2 to that. I thought the skeleton dragons came back. Woo! Phase all! Phase all. I'll take it. There's a skull in the wall watching me. That's uncomfortable. Ooh. I do only have 0 lives left, so I have a feeling a continue is coming on soon. anything in the wall. I don't know what I expected. Fave Castlevania? Symphony of the Night. I like the classic Vanias. I do prefer the Metroidvanias, though. I've tried Castlevania 2. Oh, what a horrible night for a curse. One day Metroid Prime 4 will release. Will it? Will it? Okay, so if I jump on these things, they rotate. So am I just supposed to go fast, I guess? Just like, yep. You come back here and fight me like a man as I hit you from another level. Frankenstein? No, giant skull. Sir? Sir, it is not polite to stick your tongue out like that. Dang it! Ah! Come back and fight me like a man, says the coward, striking him from below. I don't know what you're talking about. Why skull got a tongue, though? Well, your skull has a tongue. I jumped! I don't know why it didn't register that as a jump. My head has a tongue, my skull less so. They're all in there together. Look, I'm a priest, not a biologist. I don't know anatomy the best. Plus, without your skull, how would your tongue be supported? And thus, how would you be able to use it? Ow, I'm stuck in a corner. This is bad. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. I recognize the hearts and the sub-weapons. Money and the rosaries cause explosions. What's the thing that looks like a mop head? Oh, that's my whip upgrade. So whenever you die, you just start with the basic leather whip. And then you get 2 upgrades at set intervals. The first makes it a chain whip, and then the second makes it a longer chain whip. So that's what that is. There's the thing, I think Castlevania III might have introduced it. It may have been 2. Dang it, bat. The bat sniped me. Okay, so I need to strike the head and then immediately move to another position, it seems. Or just die. That is an option as well. So see how that skeleton took 2 hits to defeat? That's with the basic whip. At least eating it to the giant skull is helping remind you of death. Yes, I am constantly mementoed of my own morai here. I was trying to bring the memento to these things that are already dead, to remind them to stay dead. Rotata! Oh, you stupid Galatians! Paul is done with his problem child. And you know what? It is a mood. I thought I had moved enough there. Predicting where these fragments are going to fall is really weird. Consarnate! That skull has a tongue! Yeah, we already discussed that. But yeah, I like the stupid Galatians. It's very real and also very humanizing of Paul. Like, oh yeah. Dude had his bad moments too. So it's okay to have mine. You realize I had life limits? Yeah, it's hidden behind my face. But this is an old game. Of course there are arbitrary amounts of lives before the game over. Because we were still in the arcade mindset of getting quarters. Yeah, no, it's just behind my face. You can barely see my hearts, which is kind of nice. There's also a time limit of 500 seconds. That's less important. Dang it! Ah, I was too slow. Oh, I had to... Is that what's happening? Every time I use a continue, I get rewarded. Thank you for the bits. When your parents made you put dimes to keep your nest going. Mom, it doesn't work that way. You're gonna short it out. Licorice. Is that misspelled? I think I misspelled that. Eh. We are on a roll with these pastilles. This is 3 in as many days. Now, I like it. I like licorice. But after that cardamom one, I'm a little worried what this might put an umlaut over the O and everyone will believe you. Ooh, okay. But that actually smells very nice. You can still buy licorice root some places. Yes, where they're cultured and appropriate. This has organic licorice root powder in it, as well as anise essential oil and fennel essential oil. So it's got 3 things making the black licorice flavor. Zdrowia. Herby. That is one of the most interesting licorice flavor profiles I've ever had. No! I was pressing jump. What makes it so amazing? It's hard to describe. It's like... it's muted, almost? Like, compared to what you would get from a lot of black licorice candy. And yet also it's more bitter. The skulls in the wall watching me are pretty great. Yeah, it's hard to describe what makes this so different, but it is. I have tried salted licorice. I don't like it as much because of the texture. Oh, come on. Oh, dang it. I thought I could dodge that. And then I just had to get one more hit in. Like, it almost shows like a sourness, but not like a vinegar sourness or a sour candy sour. I don't know. It's really interesting. I guess it's really fennel-y is what it is. Because, like, licorice, fennel, anise, they all have the same relative flavor profile, but they're slightly different. Tell me this Castlevania is super? It's because it's on the Super Nintendo. Good to see you, Blake. Hope you're doing well. Now, the problem is, even if when I beat this skull, this is 4-1. Like, the level may not be over just because we're fighting the boss. Remember what happened with Medusa. Shoot. Shoot. Shoot! No! I pressed up and attack, not jump. Ah! I panicked. Now this is our last life, so probably gonna be repeating this section again. I think you died. I think I did. But I remembered to this time. I mementoed that, Morai. otherwise, it was a pretty good fight. I was moving! Hey, let's go! Now just on to the rest of the level. With almost no health. And no lives. I looked away, what happened? We beat it! Hey, Crimsonite. Good to see you. Yeah, that tongue was a lot. Well done for now. I'm now on 4-2, but I'm out of lives. Oh, good, and there's Medusa. Medusa? Nope. Medusa has no plural because it was the proper name. Medusa it is. But isn't it used biologically to refer to like anemones? Doesn't it have a plural, natural plural pair? An enemy? No, an enemy. Medusi? Well, hold on. Because it's Greek, Medusa... It'd be Medusan, actually, I think, if I'm vaguely remembering my Greek correctly. It's been a moment since I've studied anything Greek and looked at the declension tables. An enemy? Is that not how you pronounce it? Look, we've already discussed I'm a priest, not a biologist. I mean, I also could have just misspoken. I don't know how Greek works. I always had an easier time with Latin. See, and that's interesting, because, like, Latin actually has more declensions? Bad sniper bat. I disagree. I was out of the way of that one. Okay, that one not so much. Why is his hitbox so big? Dang it! Ah, if I hit him there, I'd have gone through and... More isn't a problem if they are more stable. Yeah, I don't think stable's what I would use to describe Latin declensions. I don't like how much damage I've already taken before I've even got to the boss. Declensions. Ain't that what you do when you dealing with D-lifting and dead weights? No. What? I got to clench in my jaw when I sleep at night. Oh, you should see a doctor about that. Sorry, it's not it's. Yeah, ain't supposed to be like that. No, quit sticking your tongue out at me, young man. Oh, okay, I just got dumpstered there. Nope. Didn't get the whip upgrade. Oh, that put me back here. Fun. Oh well. I'm almost to the point of thinking I should just throw myself off the cliff and restart. Because I only have 2 lives left. Don't worry, more terrible candies are not happening until you lose all your lives on a different level. Oh, good. At least at your hands. Like, it's the lack of wall chicken that's surprising in this area. I feel like I should have a wall chicken. I actually wonder. Yep, there it is. Ah! I was busy reading chat, you stupid bat. Ow. Okay, that was an acceptable hit. Excuse me, sir. Can you move so I can get unstuck? Fine. Be that way. No one loved you anyway, giant skull with a freaky tongue. Ooh. Dang it! Oh, I thought I dodged between those. These hitboxes are wild on this skeleton. It was so close, and yet so far. And now this is my last life, so even if I make it to the next section, there's no guarantee that I get any further. Okay, I need to remember the sniper bat that happens here. Okay, at least we're going to this one with full health. I disagree about that one. One hit point. That'll come so in handy here when I'm dodging Medusas. One HP in a dream. Yeah. Nope, jumped too early. It was a very short-lived dream. Fortunately, I hate one of my personal pet peeves of this era, and I love this era of gaming, don't get me wrong, but personal pet peeve, limited continues. Fortunately, this game is not one of those. I guess at least I'm getting really good at the rest of this level that I can just glide through it. I was almost too late on jumping there. I jumped! I pressed the jump button. What? That skeleton just pushed me off the stairs. I'm dangerously close to tilt. I call baloney. My whip was out. How many points bits to swap a new game until tilt is rectified? No amount of tilt. No amount of bits. Venture forward. I said I'm almost at tilt. I actually did pretty well that time because I actually have a couple of lives. So if I die, I restart in this screen. Like that. Is this a survival thing? Am I just supposed to keep going until... Oh no, I now have small whip. And there are no... Like, is this just supposed to go on for a set amount of time? Oh, stay away from me and my worm. If I touch the spikes just once, I die, even if I have iframes. That's ludicrous. Nope. I was just watching Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. That's a good one. I think it's Castlevania month. Spooktober. Rude. I'm beginning to think that is an endurance thing. It would be easier with the chain whip. I am streaming tomorrow. I'm streaming tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as part of the Christian Raid Train. A whole bunch of fellow Christian content creators come together just to create a fun marathon-long chain of streams. So, kicks off sometime in the afternoon tomorrow with, I think, Lanford? I forget who signed up. I know Yuha raids into me, I raid into P-Tony, and then it all ends with P-Tony on Tuesday morning. No? It's not. Who does it start with, Blake? It starts off at 8 a.m. with Brute. Oh, it starts even earlier than I thought. I know where I am on the schedule. That's what I need to know. I should get this chicken. It'll be MMA practice during stream time. That's all good. Whenever I go to that, people commit acts of violence against me. Oh, that's not very nice of them. You're a pretty nice person. You don't deserve random acts of violence. Sorry, that does seem a bit rude. No, it's all good. I understood you jumping like, no. And helping me out. Burp. Plus, it can be payback for when I played against you in Magic on your stream. Yes! Alright. Okay, we have a decent amount of health. We actually have all our lives. Here's me hoping that that doesn't happen IRL. I mean, I haven't decided which deck to bring. I'll probably just bring my Black-White Cleric's tribal deck. I suppose suggest that acts of violence might actually be the point of MMA. Gonna get off the corner there. Seems a dangerous place to be. No! Ah, just like one little miss and it's a game over. Yeah, I'll probably just bring my Black-White Cleric's deck. Because that's a fun one. And a fair one. And I don't have to drop any banned cards from it. I got 2 decks I need to upgrade with this of the recent bans. Wait, who are you unleashing the Cleric Tribal deck against? Blake? We're gonna try and play a game along with Erky at GothCon. You will also be running Orzhov. Ooh. I could bring my... I don't want to bring my Dino deck. That one's a little too powerful. My coin flipping one is funny, but takes way too long to play, and we're already going to be busy in CopCon. I have my Thief deck, which is also fun, but it was an endurance thing. Could loan you the Imperium deck? No, I'd like to say friends, like... Oh, shoot! I think that's my kidneys. I didn't see it coming. I have the 2 precons from the Brothers War. The Urza one. You have clowns. You do have clowns, and your clown one is a lot of fun. Honk honk. You also have your pilots one. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Because I think I have 7 last time I counted. Oh, I have my vampire, Wow, this is a great Medusa pattern. I have my vampire sacrifice blood tokens deck. And then my Canadian Highlander deck can be a commander deck if you just ignore 1 card. Hey, Star Warp. Yeah, I came in on the P-Tony raid and I was lurking a lot. Hey, look, we made it to a new area. We're making progress, and oh, the bitrate's probably gonna hate this. Behold the power of Mode 7. Oh dear, the platforms are dropping now. No! Oh. Bitrate has been worse. Yeah. Can't win it all. Ooh, that was close. I really don't want to die, because if I die, I have to refight the skull. Whew. Okay. That's weird. Honestly, it's just a bit unstable, so it looks like you're dropping frames. I have dropped all of 36 frames. I haven't even dropped half a second. Well, slightly more than half a second, I guess. Nope, that's not the time to go. You mean the dead end? Or did this just loop? This looped! Uh-oh, this is a maze. I don't have a ton of time left. I only have 140 seconds left. Okay, this looks like progress. This looks terrible. Just keep walking, just keep walking. Please let this be the end of the level. Another boss fight! I only have half health. This is terrible. It's the golem. This is not going great. That did not go great. But we learned! We know what's out there. Just want to make sure that wasn't chicken. That was me paying attention. There's chicken up here, but it's just drumstick. It won't heal everything. Ah, I always forget that bat is there. The skull is exceptionally unfair as a mid-boss. I don't know why I even went for that candelabra. I didn't need it. Didn't need anything out of it. Why was that bat so high up? I remember you. Okay, we beat that with a decent amount of health. We have 3 lives left. We start with 5. We have our chain whip for this section, which is huge. Whew, okay. I know how to do that Medusa section now. The lag is real in this area. I just gotta focus. Stupid bat! Okay, I need to try out some candelabras in here, because we need to find some chicken. Nope, not like that, not like that. I bet that one down there is chicken, but there are limits on what I think I'm able to do. Don't want a knife. Don't really need a heart. Whoa! Nearly got smashed into those spikes. That's the fake exit. Please let this be just a little chicken. Nope. I think I went too late. No, we're fine. Maybe I'll find chicken around here. You ever just had those days when you're going around a castle in Transylvania, you're just like, where's the chicken? Oh, there's some chicken. Okay, I have 90 seconds to beat the golem. And half health. What could possibly go wrong? Ooh. No. Yes! One more. We did it! Yes! Let's go! Beat stage 4! Woo! Take that, mole egg. Well, my heart is racing a little. At least I could have restarted that section. Like, I have a couple lives left still, but... Whew. Alucard has a solution for Moleg. Is it hit it a bunch? I was trying to jump over that, but oh well. What's this way? Clearly an alternate path, so therefore there must be something good. I'm not gonna lie, this is the literal first time I've ever seen this level myself. I think I had made it as far as the golem before, but never actually beat it. Oh, hello! So now we're inside the castle, and there are... That's really cool. I've never got... Again, this is the first time I've ever gotten this far. So it's kind of like Wily's Castle in a sense, where there's like one big level, but with... Oh no, the doggo! Oh, it's better. Oh, no. Down, boy. Oh, it's an axe armor. It's the weirdest looking axe armor I've ever seen in a Castlevania game. I'm so used to the Symphony of the Night design that they've basically stuck with ever since. Oh, I know this section from the... So this plays, if you let the cartridge sit and it does demo mode, it goes to this level. Ah, and I screwed it up. Oh, I have to restart from here? Rude. I am so close to being just dead here. Took way too much damage. I thought I made that jump correctly, but apparently not. I'd love to know what these burlap sack enemies are, or are supposed to be. Okay, once more with feeling. Part of the problem, though, is that because this is mode 7, exactly what I'm standing on is shifting, so you may notice I kind of shimmy and shake around the platform a little bit. I have a feeling this is the level we'll be picking up on next week. But I'm gonna keep trying. The further I get now is the more I learn. And I get upstairs. Well, Gale, not Gale, Step Zero, there's a... Yeah, I continue on a new level. Whew. Died to the bats? This is embarrassing. These bats will be the death of me. Unless these boomerang axes are first. Okay, let's retry these candelabras. These remind me actually of the candelabras that St. Peter's used to have. There's a couple pictures out there of St. Peter's from the early 20th century before electric lights were installed. And they just have these massive candelabras that have like... It's like one candelabra, another candelabra, like they're just stacked on top of each other, and they have these huge candles, and they're just full of candles. It's really interesting to see. We did it! We survived the candelabras! Now I have to survive this clearly alive candelabra. I failed. Hey, Mithril. Good to see ya. There's a lot going on! Jumping ladies and glowing blobs. And random gentlemen Why is Colonel Sanders in Dracula's castle? You've never played any Castlevania? Oh, they're fun. Everyone needs the joy of secret herbs and spices. I don't think that's what he's here to do, but okay. Whatever. And whipping everything? Yeah, that's what the Belmonts chose as their family weapon. They're like, we need to fight vampires. Whips it is! How did that bat even hit me? I don't trust this coffin. No. No. Bad coffin. Sometimes you use a weapon because it is cool, not because it is optimal. Because that's how the Belmonts will defeat Dracula over the centuries. The power of cool. Coffin chicken. No, I was out of the candelabra next to it. Oh, blood skeletons. Why do you have skeletons made out of blood? That seems really impractical. I guess Dracula's following the same rule, actually, of like, because it's cool. There are arms coming out of that wall. Big wall chicken. And that one is... Oh, they're working together, those jerks. Haha. It will sneak past her defenses. Maybe he uses blood skeletons as emergency snacks. I can see that. Blood skeleton, come here. Thank you. More coffins. What is this, the lair of a vampire or something? Just like Excel Saga with dog named Rations. Oh, that's dark. Evil table! I'm onto you, evil tables. And then I ignore you, evil tables. That one was on me. I was distracted by the ghost dancers. Trying to take care of them. This feels like a boss room. Yep. Okay, what boss do we have? Oh, a dancing couple. I'm dead. I didn't know what to expect from the dancing couple. I hope I can get the axe back. Because those tables are actually kind of a pain. Okay, I can just barely reach them before they activate. Okay, I'm gonna go till we get a continue or we beat this boss, whichever happens first. I kind of hope it's beating the boss, because then that would mean getting a start on level 7. I was jumping over them. I disagree about what happened there. It's hard to know where their hitbox is because they're invisible! Good thing I have this section pretty well figured out, I think. 3, 4, 6, 1, 1. What? I am not tracking whatever you are saying, Gale. I don't do numbers after dark. Also valid. Also, that table despawned. You're entering a 2-factor code and had the wrong window selected. Aha, now I have access to Gale's banking at work. Ah ha ha ha. Hello? A 1-up! It's pretty clutch. It was actually your work bank. Well, that's just because I know that I know your job, so it's like, it's a safe bet. You know, it's almost based as your bank account in chat. Oops. I once revealed my face on the internet. That was a mistake. I kid. I love streaming and I love the community that y'all are and are a part of. Plus, me streaming was hardly a face reveal. I was already a public figure. But Gale, you have... Oh, why are you... Why did you spawn right on top of me? Streaming looks hard to be You know, I knew it was going to be more work than it looks like. Because I know there can be the mindset of, you're just playing video games and talking. How hard could that be? And it's like, well, actually, there's a lot to pay attention to. And I didn't realize quite how much. And I certainly have a much greater appreciation of other streamers now. Not that I didn't already. Like, I knew, again, it was going to be a decent amount. But it's like, oh, it's even more. Hey, GameX. I'm doing well. Well, we're on stage 6. The skull gave us a lot of problems. And now we're fighting this dancing couple. And they're being jerks. Because they're not letting... He's not taking a break and being like, why don't you have a turn dancing? And then they pull out swords and it's like, come on. So I do that to them. It's the Haunted Mansion level? It's all the Haunted Mansion level. We are actually firmly in Dracula's castle at this point. Stage 7. That's actually going to be a perfect place to call it for the day. And we'll pick up here on stage 7 next time with its password. So, hold on a moment. So, thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Check out the raid train going on. This is the raid train that I'm a part of. I'm somewhere there I am. There I am. Hey, you can sleep in your own bed. That's awesome. So yeah, join me as part of the raid train tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gonna be doing more Minecraft. And then yeah, check out the raid train as well. Like, it's all these great, wonderful people you see going past you who are part of it all weekend. Should be a lot of fun. And then next week, Monday, RPG Monday, more Chrono Trigger. Tuesday, more Spiritfarer. Midweek Minecraft. And then continuing where we left off here in Super Castlevania IV for Throwback Thursday. And then next Friday, a week from tomorrow, I'll be on Goth. I'll be on Game of Favorites. So the game show over on Pete Tony's channel. So check that out too. And I think that's everything. So thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in, liked, shared, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Join the Discord, join the YouTube. Shout out to you, YouTube. And I think that's everything. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Normally I'd say have a great weekend, but I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, I do hope you have a good weekend. And why don't we see who's live that we can raid into? Gonna send you on over to Yuha, who's playing some Silent Hill 2. There's a great spooky game. Raid call will be return this raid tomorrow because he's raiding into me for the raid train. So hope you have a great time over there. Give him some love. He's a good guy. There's the raid call for y'all if you want to copy and paste it. So, all right. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Great weekend if we don't see you tomorrow. Take care and God bless.